super excited about to head into this Rocklin card show. Second time this group has put on a show. Last one was great, so I have really high hopes. This is Friday, Saturday, Sunday this time, and this is Friday afternoon. It's from 3 to 7 on Friday afternoon. So it's sort of like the preview day, a little half day. So I'm excited to get in there and see what's going on.
All right, so in I go. My dad was with me for this one. You can see him down there on the bottom right of your screen talking to our buddy Wayne, who I ended up doing a deal with later on. And they have a bunch of signers at this show. That's Willie Wilson and Matt Noakes. I'm going through here. Love those Cracker Jack cards. Whenever I see one of those, regardless of who it is, I love them. A couple Satchel Pages, some Bob Gibson rookies. Cool Orlando Cepeda rookie over there to the right. Ozzie Smith rookie to the right. Really cool stuff. Second year Lou Alcindor card. Lots of vintage at this show. I'd say there are about 10 solid vintage dealers. Got some Koufax in this case, and some Hank Aaron's. Now, whenever I go to a show, I hope to see my buddy Jeff there. If you see anything in here, you feel free to reach out to him. Great guy. And this dealer I'd never seen before. Most of his stuff was raw, ungraded stuff. Went through a few stacks there. You could see some stacks of some play ball and old Bowman stuff and Gowdy stuff. So I ended up going through those in a minute. Got some Game 4 World Series tickets from 1963 up there. Pretty cool. Had a conversation with him about those. And again, whenever I see a stack of this kind of stuff, I love to go through it because you just never know. Especially when it's raw. 30s, 40s stuff is always really neat to take a look at, regardless of if they're commons or whatever. So I had a fun time looking through these. And again, this guy seems to be selling off his own personal collection. Lots of ungraded stuff. Again, never seen him before, so I always spend a little bit extra time whenever I see a dealer that I've not seen in the past. He had some football stuff as well. I'm always a sucker for vintage football cards. I really think that they are underappreciated and undervalued. Get a good look here. You got some Butkus in there, some Bradshaws, Unitas, Gale Sayers, a bunch of stuff. And then again, a bunch of Mantles. You've got a Willie Mays, All-Star, 1960, and regular. And then you've got some Reggie Jackson rookie cards over there. A lot of cool stuff here. Some autograph guys at this show. Now, I always like that stuff too. Ricky Henderson. There's a case of Ricky Henderson autographs with inscriptions. These Ozzie Smiths caught my eye. There's a gold glove ball signed by Ozzie Smith. I mean, if anyone ever deserved a gold glove ball, it would be Ozzie Smith. So lots of cool autographs. And then the thing that jumped at me is this. Look at how awesome is that Julius Erving autograph. So again, it was not super crowded today because it is just the first half day. It was from 3 to 7 today on Friday. There's a fair amount of glare that I tried to avoid as best I could because it's kind of not an open air, but the roof had a lot of glass in it, so apologize for any glare that you're dealing with here. That 52 Spawn jumped out at me, and then a couple more cards here I asked to take a look at. I've seen this dealer a couple of times, and he's such a nice guy, and his prices kind of are all over the place. Sometimes they seem really high and sometimes they seem really low, depending on the card. So always take a look at his stuff. Really liked the looks of this Ernie Banks card. I love Ernie Banks. I tend to really like the players who are good guys. Ernie Banks is as good as they come. Really like the looks of that card.
Look at the Mantle highlight card.
There's this cool Mantle card, really well centered. He's asking 145 on it for a 4.5. I value this one more about 100, but I understand why he'd be asking a little bit more, but it's a little too high for me to try to make an offer on. So look through this stack of raw leader cards he's got there. I always love cards that have multiple Hall of Famers. You got Clemente and Mays on a card. You've got, Aaron and other Hall of Famers.
That's wild.
Pointed out how miscut that McCovey was. It's like a really bad diamond cut on it. I love the All-Star cards. It's a great, affordable way to get some of these big-time players. So I'm always looking for Hall of Fame All-Star cards because, most of the time I'm just picking stuff up for my PC.
Well, you have this one is 35 and this one's 25, I see.
Really liked the one with the Mays and Clemente on it.
Well, if you're looking to buy all of them, I would just give you the McCovey and take 20% off of all the rest of them.
Can I take a look at that maze again? I really like that maze.
So this maze was really nice, but when you look at it, I'll point out a few things. So this card is a 7. It's a 1959 All-Star Willie Mays 7, but it's a really old grade.
Yeah.
But you can see the comps over there on the side. He was asking 225. And look at what the last comp
pretty
was.
firm at that.
On mine, I have to be.
But this is like a second or third generation slab just by glancing at it. So, but it's way low what he's asking compared to comps. And it's a super sharp card. Just because it's an old grade doesn't automatically mean that the card is not at the quality of the grade. Some do. And this one was super sharp to me. It's a little off center. It's about 65-35. So I decided to think on it and continue moving around the show. Went by, checked out my guy Dion. He's always got really cool autograph stuff. You can see a Frank Robinson there. A couple caught my eye at the bottom here. You got a Dave Winfield and Rod Carew autographs. That Rod Carew is really on my mind
that out there, I'll get it.
for most of the day. Now Dion's putting on a huge show in Fairfield, California, in Northern California. It's supposed to have 300 tables. So here is the information. It is taking place at the Solano Mall in Fairfield, and a big section of it. So if you're interested, if you're a Northern California person, this is going to probably be the biggest show we've had in a while. So check that out. Dion always puts on great events. And he's always got lots of autographs, and I love going through these old school autographs. There's a Spud Webb there. I love the old school autographs. Dion's prices are always fair, and he's always willing to work with you too on the price. Really fair guy. So whenever I see him at a show, I always go through his autograph boxes.
The Embiid just did 4, so I'd be like 225. The Fox, I think I just picked it up for 40. Right before the gas even happened. I got it on $20.
Again, looking through. When you go through a box like this, you just go and see a Muggsy Bogues, or you'll see a, Walt Frazier. You never know when you're looking at these old school autograph guys. So I'm always down to, especially Hall of Famers or guys from my childhood. Speaking of Walt Frazier, I mean, $25, and that's super fair. Bill Cartwright. There's a patch auto card of Bill Cartwright for $30. I mean, Bill Cartwright was a huge part of the Bulls dynasty. Is the center. He also is a local guy. He went to Elk Grove High School, which is the school district that I teach in, just south of Sacramento. And so I moved on. So I went over to see my buddy Wayne. Now he's always got cool stuff. He was telling me he got a spot at the National this year. So he will be there. I always have fun. My dad and I always spend a lot of time hanging out with Wayne. We've become pretty good friends with him. He teases me a lot, which, that's fine. He had a couple cards that I took a look at. Had a really cool second-year Gretzky that was raw that I looked at, which I think you'll see in the last case here at the very bottom. Yeah, this case at the very bottom, you'll see the Gretzky. Really gave that card a thought. And there's another card in the first case, his football case, that I wanted to take a closer look at. So he's over there talking to my dad. He's got a lot of cool non-sport stuff too. So this Otto Graham, the 1955 All-American set, I love. And this is the most recent comp on this. It's a 6, but it's also an older grade. You'll see. This is about a 5th or 6th generation slab. Now again, I go through all the different slabs in a video I did recently. Check that out if you haven't seen it.
I told my friend.
A little off center side to side, but really sharp card. I think it holds up as a 6.
You give me a like at least when you watch my video. Make sure you click that like button.
Well, hey,
How much do you have on
today.
it? How much do you have on it?
I was asking 130.
So it's a nice card. Now let me ask you something seriously, and I'm being dead serious.
No. Okay. Look.
Here's my serious question. I'm being dead serious. So when cards were graded, so like this is a newer grade, agreed? Than this, all right? Most of your stuff is newer grades. So you see this Eckersley is graded more recently than this, okay? I know that because the number
Right, I know that.
is on the same line. So my question to you is, do you think they're grading harder now than they did 30 years ago?
And I'll tell you why.
You say no?
No, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because
So we had this
they
conversation
want
going
the population
about
at their level.
how much harder they're grading, or are they grading harder. And then
I think I want to grade
Jeff Guy comes over and jumps in too. He's a great guy, and so we're having a fun conversation about it.
Because they're liable for every Jordan 10
And
the price.
Right.
That's part of the. People don't.
Again,
have
I
any
think
idea
a lot of the
there
old
is a
grades
legal
hold up, but some
aspect
don't.
of this grading.
So it makes it tough when you're buying a card that's in an old slab.
So let me ask you this then. So, and the reason I'm asking because there's another card down there that I'm really interested in getting.
So I'm
But
referring to
like
the maze I
this
just
one,
looked at.
It's a super old grade. Now this is about, I can tell you, this is
That's probably in the 90s.
this is like the 4th generation.
Okay.
So this is going to be about 2000 that this was done because it
Right.
doesn't have the hologram. It's
Right.
on this. This was graded about 25 years ago. Same with the card down there. Now, part of me, even though I like the card, wonders if someday I decide to move the card, if other people will say it's worth less because it's an older grade.
I had some.
These are the things I'm thinking about as I'm buying stuff.
Unitas. It's 7 with the ST, but I still look at.
What do
the
you think
car.
about qualifiers?
I still think.
Have you thought about crossing that over to SGC?
Possibly, yeah, but I still know that there's still a chance that it's, even if it's less, I wouldn't even care really, but I'm not a big cracker, and
Again, this is Jeff that came over. Super fun conversation.
That I just have
Well, I think we all wish everything was wrong.
and I don't go and grade a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff I've just picked up that's already been graded. But I don't look at this card any less or these cards any less because they're old grades. Me personally, I kind of like the old.
These are definitely things to be considering as you're making purchases.
But see, when everybody gets educated to that, they'll go, well, you know, I told them, I go, you fucking.
At the end of the day, it's really
honestly, if I
about
look at
buying
like
the
this
card,
and this, I mean, if you
not
were
the
to
grade,
send
right?
these to PSA today, could these come back the exact same?
I think they would.
They could. These are
I
both
think
darn-
both of these particular cards probably would. But whether other people would think so.
Other people like.
But
no,
if you-
I see what you're saying though. Right.
If you broke this,
If I buy a
and then
house,
sent it in,
if I buy a house on a busy street and it doesn't bother me, that's fine. But then when I try to sell the house, it might bother other people.
that's a good
So you have to be
scenario.
aware of
That's
that.
a really, I know.
Right?
No, listen,
I really believe in that analogy.
So when I hear them talking,
And it's
Make
something
sure
you got to
like,
think about.
And make sure you
Yeah, we go.
subscribe.
I'm teasing Wayne about
Like and
making sure he
subscribe.
likes and subscribes
I don't know.
to my YouTube channel.
So what's the friends and family price on this?
100.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Deal.
That's an awesome card.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
had to tell them 300 to begin with. I get 100.
So $100, again, comps out quite a bit better than that. And it is an old grade, but as you'll see when we take a good look at it here in a second, I really think it's a super nice card. Certainly, in my eyes, still a 6. And if you see an old grade, you want to be aware of it. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about buying the card, not the grade. So let's take a look at it again. So it is a 6. It's an old 6. This is like a 5th, maybe 4th generation slab. There are 10 generations of slabs. But you look at it, it's a super sharp card. I love autogram cards. I've been collecting lots of autogram cards. I love the 55 All-American Tops set, which are a bunch of those old school football legends. I love them. So I've been eyeing this card. Now I buy it at a show, so now I don't have to pay shipping. I don't have to pay sales tax. And then my buddy Wayne gives me a pretty good deal. So again, you look at it side to side. Yeah, it's a little off center, but the corners are super sharp. So again, here are the comps. 143, 110, 175, 157, and 142. And again, he gave me the friends and family price of 100. He threw me a bone on that one. So I appreciate that for sure. And that card's going straight to my PC. And again, I am a sucker for vintage football. So you saw Larry Zonka there. You see a Gifford there. So whenever there's a box like this, now these cards are all marked, but you can see the sign in the background. They are 40% off of the marked price. I personally think a lot of the marked prices are a little high, but they are 40% off. But again, whenever you see a box like this, you might just stumble across a total gem. I'm standing there with my dad. My dad's to my left. He's looking through the case there. This guy is a regular at a lot of the shows in Northern California. And again, 40% off. And, when I'm with my dad and we see, a regular, when I've got a little bit of extra time, that's when I tend to dig through a box like this. They tend to do a pretty good job of, moving through different stuff in their cases. A lot of these guys that do lots of shows. So I always give their cases a good look. And then when I have the chance, putting in a little bit of legwork into a box like this can definitely pay off sometimes. So I'm digging through these, and there's a nice butt kiss there. One of his later cards. So yeah, I really have a good time. Now my dad and I tend to split up during shows, and then occasionally we get back and hang out and put some stuff. To look through some cards together as well. So we're always having conversations and reconnecting during the show, which is a lot of fun. There's a nice Y.A. Tittle card. Y.A. Tittle has some 49er connections. I love the Bowman football.
They're nice condition.
I love all
If you want raw
1950
stuff, nice
Bowman
condition. He's got a lot
football
of it.
and baseball. Nice Joe Perry, another 49er connection. I was at a show, not a show, I was at an event when I was in about 5th grade and met Joe Perry. Super nice guy. Got his autograph. He was there with Bob St. Clair, another 49er legend. So I went through most of this box and didn't find anything this time, but at the same time, you never know. This particular dealer has lots of raw stuff. You see a couple of Drysdale rookies, got a Jim Bunning rookie, got a Banks and a Mays in there, lots of stacks, tons of volume. And again, most of his stuff is raw. To me, his prices, his marked prices are always a little high, but he does tend to negotiate. You got a Carlton rookie to the left there next to that Clemente, a couple more Mays cards. And again, whenever I see these autos with some Hall of Fame guys or legends,
How are you?
I always check those out.
All right, I sent my scout over to look at it.
So I went back to
He
look
thought
at
it
the
was nice.
Maze.
Let me take one more look at it here.
My dad, I asked my dad
Yeah.
to see what he thought of it. He liked it as well. Again, it is a much older slab. This is like a 2nd or 3rd generation slab. But I really think that the card holds up as a 7. I think it's a really nice card. Again, he's asking $225, which I think is extremely fair.
And will you come down to 200?
Yeah.
All right, let's do
There was
it.
another guy that just got done looking at
So he
Yeah.
decided to
Yeah.
200.
come down to
Let's do it.
200 for
Let's do
me.
it.
So I was pretty excited about that. Again, there's that 52 top spawn that I pointed out earlier, which I really liked that card as well.
All right, there you go.
But it's just a little too much more than I wanted to spend today. Again, I try really hard to support and buy stuff.
Yeah, no, cash is the only way to go.
Try to buy stuff from the nicer dealers, the guys that are super
It's easy for them.
friendly and reasonable.
No, I'm a cash guy. It's better that way.
So take a better look at it. So again, you can see it's an older slab. There's a few reasons you can tell that. So you got the barcode is not all the way left aligned with the player name, which you'll see here in a second. And then you'll also see that the NM for near mint and the 7 are on the same line. And then when I flip it over, you can see the hologram there on the right marks it as a 2nd or 3rd generation. There's a slight difference between the 2nd and 3rd generation. I believe this one's a 3rd. I'd have to study it a little closer to know for sure. But again, I think it's a really nice card. I mean, the corners are super sharp. And the edges are super clean. Again, side to side, it's maybe 65-35. It's got a very slight diamond cut to it. But look at the recent sales. So one sold for $412. Another one just sold for $360. Those are recent sales. I paid $200. I was really happy with that. That card's going to my PC. I bought a raw one at the Concord show from my guy Craig, which that one is now going to hit the auction block, and I'm going to upgrade to the 7 here. So, starting to run down on time with the show. This guy had a big pile of vintage stuff. You got a George Brett rookie mini. You got a Dave Winfield rookie, which seemed like a pretty reasonable price. I gave that one a thought. You got a Bill Ripken. So this Bill Ripken, you know, the quote-unquote error, he was only asking $10 for it. $10. I mean, that card was hot there for a minute a couple years ago. Almost pulled the trigger on it for $10. Love those 84 Donruss cards. A lot of Ricky Henderson stuff in his pile. Some Ken Griffey Juniors. You got a Brett Favre rookie. A lot of Bonds. He had a lot of Bonds, a lot of Ricky Henderson. Some of the prices were on the front, some were on the back. But again, I had a great time at the show. Got a Kirby Puckett rookie in there too. Had a great time at the show. Would encourage you to attend their shows in the future when they have them. 2 big pickups for me, that Otto Graham and the Willie Mays All-Star. Let me know what you think about those.